not able to hear anything.
Good evening and welcome to the Finance and Economic Development Committee meeting. Today is Monday, November the 3rd. This meeting is now called to order. I am Chair, Councilmember Michelle Harley for the 4th District, and at this time I will call the roll for those members of the committee first, and then all other council members. Vice Chair Bracy,
Present.
Councilmember Darby, Councilmember Hackett, Councilmember Oliver, Councilmember Spadola,
Present.
President.
Present.
Thank you. President Congo, Councilmember Owens, Councilmember McCoy, Councilmember Willard,
Present.
Councilmember Field, Councilmember Cabrera, and Councilmember Johnson. As a friendly reminder, I just want to remind everyone that members of the committee should be making any motions and second. And so at this time, we're going to move on with our agenda tonight. We have 4 items, 2 ordinances, a resolution, and a presentation. So we're just going to get started with our first item on the agenda, ordinance number 25-060, an ordinance to authorize and approve an agreement between the City of Wilmington and Ring Central, Inc. for a communications platform. And who is here to speak to this ordinance? Please come to the microphone and introduce yourself. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Timon May, Director of IT for the City of Wilmington.
Good evening.
Thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Yes, you're welcome. You may get started,
Oh,
sir.
okay. Oh, no, I have it here. I didn't know I was supposed to. I haven't done this in a while. My apologies.
Oh, that's okay.
So what we're presenting tonight is an ordinance asking for a 5-year contract with Ring Central for a unified communications platform that will combine, update our city's VoIP phone systems for unified communications for video, messaging, and phone system and calling. The annual cost of the contract is $163K, with a approximate cost of $815K over 5 years. We're realizing cost savings in the initial year of up to $100,000 by signing the contract over 5 years, and the 5-year contract will help keep the operating costs stable throughout the length of the contract. This contract replaces the current system that we have in place for Mitel.
Okay. All right. And I also noticed where it says it's for a period of 5 years with a 1-year extension prior, or is that going forward?
Period of 5 years until we have an option to extend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the initial period would be 5 years.
All right. Okay. And is this the first time we have entered into an agreement with this particular vendor?
No, this is the first time we would enter into an agreement with them to provide the full services, to provide the full unification suite. We have used them for other supplementary functionality to the Mitel system. So we have used them in the past, and they are a stable company.
Okay. All right. Thank you. At this time, are there any questions from members of council? I see Councilmember Oliver's hand is up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening. I just want to understand, I came on a little late. You said this is a 5-year, and you said this is the first time we're going to be using them for what you said, the full services? I missed that part. I'm sorry.
So we have used them for supplementary services with our current phone and voice system to provide support for hardware and or in our current VoIP system. But this would be the first time that we're using their particular product as the full platform for communication.
Follow up?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And how much are we saving? Like I said, I came on a little late, so I missed it if you said it. How much would the city be saving to utilize them for a 5-year contract? Because that sounds like an extensive contract if this is our first time utilizing them. No, you said not, but this is the first time we utilize them in a full capacity. So you're saying you were satisfied, we're satisfied with them, so we want to extend it for 5. So what are some of the service when you say full capacity? Not everything, but can you give me a few things that they would be doing for as a full capacity?
Well, as I mentioned before, the new platform that we'll be using will integrate our voice, video, messaging, our contact communication off of the MyTel system. So rather than using MyTel platform now for your voicemail and things like that, you'll be able to utilize this system to be able to answer phone calls, forward phone calls. You'll have a soft application with this company so that that'll be installed as an app on any device or phone so that you can forward your city calls to, say, your computer or to your tablet. It should help us while the contract itself is a bit more than what we currently pay. We will realize some other additional savings, potentially by the amount of cell phones that we may reduce or not have to deploy because we have this service that we can extend the city cell phone system out to other devices. So those are some of the cost benefits that we're looking to realize. But that's in a nutshell what it does. You'll be able to have one application to be able to get all of your city-centric communication information.
Madam Chair, follow up?
Yes, Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you. So I didn't hear, what is the fiscal impact on it? I'm sorry.
It's $163,089.88.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other council members wish to speak? Councilmember Willard?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I just had a quick question. Some people get frustrated with the 311 system and have a hard time reaching city staff. Would this enable, just if there was ever a return to having more direct contact between residents and city staff, would this be a way that you could like call a direct number and reach somebody?
So the 311 system sits in front of our city system and calls are routed back in externally from there. But this should make it easier to be able to reach city workers throughout the app. It should make it easier to be able to reach them directly, on any of the devices that they have. So it can help. It's not directly tied into 311, but I could see where it could be something that could potentially help.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members? If none, is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak? If so, please raise your hand. Okay. Lastly, Director, is the city of Wilmington getting a better deal by entering into a 5-year contract versus 2 years, 3 years?
Yes, I believe so, because it's, like I said, it will, in an era where we're seeing costs for telecom services and equipment and software steadily rising, this will keep those operating costs at the same amount for over the next 5 years. We are paying a bit more than we normally pay now per year annually, but that's because we're requesting more services with this platform than we currently get. And so you're not always going to be able to find you're not going to always be able to find a lower cost version to get the additional features and functionality. So I think stabilizing these costs will keep that competitive for the city.
Okay. All right. All right. Any other council members that have any comments at this time? Councilmember Oliver?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. That was my question. That's what I was trying to get at, Desmond. What was the difference with the 163 with the fiscal impact now, and what was it before? That was what I was trying to ask him. Thank you.
Okay.
Roughly about 120,
Okay.
when we aggregate the services that we pay now.
Okay.
Okay. No
Yeah.
problem. Thank you. So you're talking about basically, you're saying about another 40,000 or something
Roughly,
around that
yes.
area. Okay.
Yes,
Thanks.
Yeah, we're paying for more, but we're getting more services.
correct.
Right. Okay. All right then. So none of our ordinances have to be voted out today. So if there are no other questions from the council members or from the public, we're going to move on to our next agenda item. And thank you very much, Director, for sharing on this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. All right. We're going to go to the next item on the agenda, which is ordinance number 25-063, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to require all legislative and administrative bodies of the city to provide members of the public a way to participate in public meetings virtually. And who is here to speak to this ordinance?
I am, Madam Chair.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Spadola. The floor is
Thank you,
yours.
Madam. Thank you. This ordinance, that title is a mouthful, but I look at it, it's just simply a way to mandate by law that any public meeting held by the city will have a virtual option for participation by the public. The ordinance specifically speaks to council meetings, subcommittees, task forces, and also any boards, commissions, or committees from the city outside of council. So any ZBA meetings, WEFAC, et cetera. And the genesis for this was, I don't think there's any philosophical objection to it. Anybody's welcome to chime in. I don't mean to be dogmatic. But what brought this up was I was participating in a ZBA hearing 2 months ago, and I just assumed there was a virtual option. I went in person, but I know there was a resident that was not able to participate virtually because there was no virtual option, which surprised me. And I don't know if it was just what the reason for it, but I imagine this is the practice anyway, but I'm just putting it into law. Happy to take any questions.
Yes. So, council member, so going forward, of course, you and I, we had a short conversation about this, and I do think that this was sort of more like a hiccup than what we would consider a practice regarding the public not having virtual access to be able to comment. So I guess what I want to say to you is this: priorities are important in terms of WITN, what they're supposed to be covering, which we know are the council meetings and committee meetings and things of that nature. Would you be willing to consider us having a small clause in there for an exception of an extreme case? Because again, we can never, we don't compare schedules. So based on the zoning board having a meeting, and sometimes council have meetings, sometimes there may be a little gap there. So I guess what I'm saying is is there any way that we can word this in a way where we definitely are going to make sure that we do everything we can to make sure we cover as many meetings as we're supposed to be covering, but there may be down the road, and again, a situation where we may have to pick a council meeting over the ZBA meeting. And not only that, but as we know, the public can always show up in person. So it's not that they won't have that opportunity to speak and share their comments.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with, if there's, some sort of sickness going around and, we need a clause in there where if it's, an impossibility because of staffing issues or whatever, I'm happy to get WITN's input in that. I did give permission for the law department to share this with the administration in August. So I'm not sure if that made it. I don't think that made it to WITN. So I'll circle back with them and see if they have any issue with it. But I'm happy to amend it. But at the end of the day, though, I do think we should be able to handle more than one meeting at once. And if we can't, I think that we need to look into how we can fix that. Is anybody from council staff there that can comment on the WITN perspective to this, or on the city's the ability to virtually broadcast more than one meeting at a time? Madam Chair.
Sure. It looks like our Chief of Staff, Elijah Simmons, would like to speak.
Hi, Councilmember Spadola. Can everybody hear me?
Hey, how you doing? Yes.
I know as of right now, WITN currently staffs the majority or all city council meetings, as well as an additional to the CVT commission meetings, as well as Newcastle County council meetings. So from the context of also streaming and recording additional meetings that might be initially managed by the administration, that's additional discussion we're going to probably have to have with the mayor's team there, just to see what that would look like. Just knowing from contextual side of timing and scheduling, there may be some times and some moments of overlap, because there are certain scenarios where there might be a committee meeting and then there's also a ZBA meeting happening upstairs. So that's one of those scenarios and examples where we have to just make sure that schedules align and there's no issues there if this ordinance were to pass.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Bassnight?
Yes, if I can just add on to what our Chief of Staff just mentioned as well, is currently, WITN doesn't record like all meetings, so they don't record the ZBA. And to have virtual capability, long as you have like Zoom and online, you can be able to do that. So right now, if we having a meeting here and there's ZBA in the chambers, as long as the administration has, Zoom technology and the information is publicized and, for FOIA, the public can access, the meetings. So I just wanted to mention that when it comes to online access to boards, commissions, as an alternative.
Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, if I could get Marshall Bassnight to clarify our comments. So are you saying, Ms. Bassnight, that basically the administration can use Zoom any which way to broadcast anything? They don't need to rely on WITN. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes. So currently, right now, for the ZBA, that is not, WITN is not doing the Zoom. That is the administration. And Ms. Mergler, if you want to just share a little bit more context, but yes.
Thank you. Ms. Mergler.
Sure. So we are committed to ensuring that we have capability of recording meetings that happen within the building. I know that Deputy Chief of Staff Walker sent around a response to this ordinance earlier with just a couple of changes that we would like, that would be helpful for us to see. I think the biggest concern for us is just the community-based meetings that happen outside the city-county building. And just to give some context around what those might be. So we recently had the homelessness task force. Part of that, our goal with that was to not just hold meetings in the city-county building, but to actually go out and meet people where they are in various areas that are actually experiencing some of the issues of homelessness. So we had meetings at the Sunday Breakfast Mission. We had them at the Church of St. Matthew's and St. Michael's. So those types of establishments might not always have the Wi-Fi capability or whatever else, the connectivity that we need to successfully hold a Zoom meeting. Those are, or have the AV capability, you know what I mean? To have the camera and the microphone, which are usually the bigger problems, rather than just having access to Zoom. Like if you have a meeting with, say, 30 people, it's difficult to make sure that you have everybody in camera and on microphone so that people can truly meaningfully participate remotely rather than just listen to a couple of people speak, which is sometimes, I think if people have attended a hybrid meeting, that's somehow usually the way that it ends up. So that's more what we're looking for here, is just a little bit of flexibility there to make sure that we're still able to hold those public meetings outside the building, but not be constrained to having, full participation virtually, because sometimes it just doesn't work.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other members of council that have any questions?
Yes, my hand's been up.
Councilmember Oliver?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think, like to echo, I think what Marshall said, I was at a ZBA and it was individuals on there on Zoom. So I think this is already available for individuals. I'm thinking, when you mention in the chambers, but we have a tendency to talk about, public input. Now, I would like to know the fiscal impact if they're coming, if the administration, this is administration, I think, issue, because if the administration's coming to Stubbs to talk to our civic association, I don't expect them to have the Zoom capabilities. That's why it's a civic or a community meeting. Sometimes it's just community meetings, and I don't see where the administration, they come out, that we have to have the ability, in that particular case, for the administration to have the virtual ability. Now, in-house or maybe somewhere else, but I think we need to look at the fiscal impact on this. I like to know that, because I don't understand where the mayor, where the administrations goes, we have to have something virtual that everybody needs to see, because as Stephanie just said, I was just down at a meeting with Ministry of Care. Everybody doesn't have that capability, and to put this as an ordinance, it's a stretch. I can see a resolution, but an ordinance to say it's mandatory, I wouldn't be in favor of making this mandatory when I know it's already restrictions or restraints out there that every meeting I go to, it's not going to be, have the capabilities of having that connection. And this too, again, is not for city council. This is more or less administration function. So I think that y'all need to sit down and maybe have a conversation. And I just don't think everything's city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of council? Councilmember Willard?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to thank Councilmember Spadola for bringing this up. I do think there's a number of important meetings that it would be great if they were, recorded and that you could participate virtually, like the WEFAC meetings, like the UCAB meetings, and they take place in the building. And it sounds like Zoom capabilities could just be enabled to enable the public to participate. So I think those kinds of things would be great if they could be, recorded and available as records, as public record.
Ms. Mergler?
Actually, fortunately, the WEFAC meetings are currently recorded, and we do put them on the website. So I can send you a link to all of the prior recordings. But yes, absolutely, I agree. Any publicly noticed meeting, we absolutely do try and record it and provide access to the public virtually. Mainly, we are just concerned about the meetings that take place offsite, which make it a little more difficult.
Thank you, Ms. Mergler.
Madam Chair, can I just?
Yes, Councilmember. Yes, Councilmember Spadola.
Yeah, I think that concern makes a lot of sense. Even if somebody has a phone, there's still plenty of, if you're in a basement, you might not have access to Wi-Fi. So I don't mind making a carve out for off-site meetings.
Okay. Any other council members have any questions?
Yes, I do.
Miss Bassnight?
Chair, I just wanted to ask, was that a formal motion by Councilman Spadola?
No, I'm not. I'm just going to amend it offline.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Keep it clean.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Councilmember Oliver?
Yes, so my question to the sponsor, if he's going to make that amendment for it to be, not expected off-site, that's already available. So I'm wondering, am I missing something with this this ordinance, because it's already available? So can the sponsor answer that, please?
Yes, as I said, Councilman Oliver, I was attending a ZBA meeting in person within the past 2 months, and there was not a virtual option for the public to participate, despite the building being on site in council chambers. That was the genesis for this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Follow up, Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilmember Oliver.
I have a question for Miss Bass Knight. In the chambers, did you just state that we have the virtual? Because when I was in there, somebody was on. Is that available for the ZBA meetings, Zoom in the building?
I'll let Ms. Mergler answer that.
Ms. Mergler.
So there have been difficulties, I think, especially with the ZBA, in ensuring that we have somebody who can staff the meeting and run the Zoom meeting at the same time. For a while, Bob Goff was doing double duty and scheduling the Zoom meeting himself, and then letting people in the meeting, calling on participants. He was well versed in that, but it's been a little bit of a challenge since he left. So we are working on that internally and ensuring that we are properly staffing the meetings and making sure that they are recorded and that there's an ability for people to attend online. I know we also had a hiccup in the summer with our Zoom account. That was on one of the ZBA meetings that I was a part of, and that was regrettable, but it was that was more of a unexpected IT glitch more than anything else. But yes, going forward, we've discussed this, and we'll make sure that we are ensuring proper staffing. Now, granted, we do still have difficulty with microphones and with cameras and other AV equipment in our conference rooms that we are looking to upgrade that, but it will come with a cost. And so there will be at least some fiscal impact on that front. But it is something that definitely needs to be done.
Okay. So to me, it sounds as though, for the most part, this was a functionality that really is under the administration in terms of the ZBA not having the virtual option available at that particular time. That usually the ZBA always, from my experience, they've always provided an option for the public to participate. So it sounds like, again, that this was a hiccup. There has been some changes and transition going on within that particular department, and for the most part, we make sure that there are virtual options and that we will continue to work on it.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
May I finish, Madam Chair?
Sure.
I asked the question and I never was able to finish what I was saying.
Oh, go ahead, Councilmember Oliver.
Stephanie, thank you for that clarity, and thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other council members have any questions? Councilmember Darby.
Hello, yes, thank you. So I love this piece of legislation. I think it sets a standard going forward to how we should run as a government for all of our commissions, committees, anything involving where the public should be involved, offering this option. By law, already we're supposed to offer virtual for people with disabilities. So that's already something that we're probably in violation of with a lot of our public meetings that we have. And that's not just city council, but overall. So I think this is a great step forward. The conversation around like implementing cost, I think those things, if we, of course, tomorrow, everything isn't going to be on Zoom, right? But if we come up with a process, the administration, to create a way to phase in different committees and commissions to be able to be virtual. And I know that's going to come with systems and equipment and like figuring it out. And I don't think that should be a barrier to why it doesn't happen. I think that we figure those things out, work through it, go in phases so that we're able to eventually get to that point where the virtual option does happen, because down the line, someone with a disability could sue the city for not having virtual options for our public meetings, the ones the ones that, have temporarily, or the ones that have never had virtual options. So I think it's key and important. So I would love to be a co-sponsor on this piece of legislation. I think it's really important to have the community participate in all ways. And that is my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members have any questions? I'm going to
Madam
turn.
Chair, can I,
Yes.
if I have a clarifying question for Ms. Mergler, if I could.
Yes, Councilmember Spadola.
So this ordinance as written has no, it says this ordinance, excuse me, this ordinance is anticipated to have minimal fiscal impact. And so what you were talking about, the cameras and upgrading them, it sounds like regardless of this ordinance passing or not, or being withheld, the administration was looking to upgrade those cameras anyway. Is that correct?
Well, at the very least, we recognize the need to upgrade the AV equipment in certain conference rooms, but I do think that it would be a good idea to at least try and provide an estimate for this ordinance just in general. But yes, if we can't do it, we do plan to kind of phase it in, see what money we have this year, look what we need to put in the budget for next year. But just in the interest of transparency, I think it would be a good idea to put together a fiscal impact that reflects that cost.
Thank you, Ms.
So we will
Merkler.
work on it.
I want to flip it over to the public. Councilmember Owens.
Yeah, just thank you, Madam Chair. Just to clarify what you just said, so y'all do not have a fiscal impact put together for this ordinance right now?
I don't believe one was requested from OMB, but I will work with OMB to ensure that we have one.
Got you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, at this time, is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak?
Yes.
Councilmember, can you please state your name from the public?
No, that was council member. When you finish,
There we go.
come back.
It just got unmuted. Hi, my name's Victor Cushman, and I'm sitting here on the Zoom conference 4 time zones away. So I am deeply appreciative of this capability, and also that the council would put this in other meetings, which have not always been possible to attend. So I'm greatly thankful. I would hope that perhaps some of this capability could be a cost reduction by moving it into the Ring Central contract for some capabilities. I know that they have video conferencing. I use it myself. And also perhaps a portable kit could be created with a hotspot, a camera, a laptop that could be taken out into the public with some level of instruction. So thank you for putting this forward. I think it's a great way to allow the public to participate, and I certainly look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members before we move on?
Yes, I have one question. I didn't hear where he said he was from. He said 4 something away. He's not here in the state. Did he say that? Marshall?
He said 4 time zones away.
May I ask Marshall a question, Madam Chair?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Marshall, I'm asking a question. When he said that, did he say out of state? I'm just asking a question.
Well, if he's 4 time zones away, he's out of state, but he has been here in the city because his name has been recognized for attending other meetings. So
just ask the question. I'm just trying to participate in the committee meeting. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anyone else from the public before we move on? All right. Well, thank you. Before we move on, Councilmember Spadola, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, just that I'm going to request the fiscal impact, but I think there's the administration's desire to upgrade their cameras is not necessarily what this ordinance would require. So that will be a demarcation. And I think that's a distinction. I just want to draw that. They have the capability to do it. If they want to upgrade, that's great. But I don't think that burden should be stuck in this ordinance, as they already have the capability to do it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Spadola, and thank you, Ms. Mergler, for the information. And now we're going to move on to our next item. And again, this ordinance does not have to be voted out of this committee. Our next item on the agenda is a resolution urging the administration to explore all available fiscal measures before proposing any increase to water on sewer rates. And who's here to speak to this legislation? Excuse me.
I am, Madam Chair.
Okay, Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you. So this was less of a mouthful, and I think it's the title is it really sums it up. And then if you look at the synopsis, just as a summary, this resolution urges the administration to explore all available fiscal measures before proposing any increase to water or sewer rates, including the temporary or partial use of general fund resources. I'm not saying that any specific way is the way to go. What I am saying, though, is I think the public, especially with the reassessment, has had enough with the increase in costs and taxes. And if there ever were a time to do another general fund transfer to the water sewer fund, this would be the year specifically. And I know that was done in 2010. I am not, and it's mentioned in this ordinance. And what I would hope is if this it's a resolution, not an ordinance. We're not tying the hands of the administration. We are expressing our will that before we're looking at another rate increase to vote on in May, that I want the full faith and confidence that the administration turned over every stone, lifted up every couch cushion, to save on costs for the sewer water fund before we have to vote on another increase, which even just a few percentage points, will have quite the impact. I say that, and I believe in the solvency of our water utility fund. That is super important. We don't want to become a Flint, Michigan. I understand that costs are going up, but I would hope that with artificial intelligence, there's got to be a way to cut costs. I did a quick Google beforehand, just seeing where municipalities have saved money with artificial intelligence, and it's rampant. So I think that this is specifically looking for the administration to turn every stone and look into doing that general fund transfer, as was done in 2010. Maybe it was a great idea, maybe it was the worst idea, but I think explaining that to us would be helpful, and the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Spadola, and thank you for sharing that, and the spirit behind asking the administration to do this. I think is exactly what we should be doing. This looks like good governance, and we should be. This should be a best practice, I would think, of our administration to always look to make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can do to offset some of these costs. And before I call on Councilmember Owens, I want to make sure it's in the record. Councilmember Owens, Councilmember Darby, and President Congo being present. Councilmember Owens.
Yes, I just have a quick question about this. So from my understanding, when it comes to the budget time, when it comes to the water rate increases and everything, none of that can go into effect without city council's approval, correct?
Correct.
Right. And during the budget season, all those meetings we go through, then we have to come together as a council body and approve those rates. So if council, and maybe Ms. Marshall can speak to this as well too, council has the ability to change those rates if we believe it is too much for the citizens or it's too less for the budget based off our viewing of the budget, correct?
Correct.
So my question is, why do we need something like this if council's doing their job?
I would like Sure, Councilmember Spadola, go ahead.
I think most specifically, I'm asking the administration to look into what was done in 2010 when they had the general fund transfer into the water utility fund, in light of the reassessment increases hitting a lot of our own residents. So I think we are in an outlier situation. So that's the main reason, Councilmember Owens, and I didn't want to bring this up, in February or March, when we're heavy into the budget season. And also I think I have, like everybody, as you sit through a presentation about our water utility fund, the budget rate increases, they almost seem preordained. They don't seem preordained. They are preordained for years out into the future. So this resolution is an opportunity for council to say, hey, 6 months before we vote on your rate increases, prove it to us now. Do the due diligence, not just in a budget hearing that honestly nobody is watching, nobody's reporting on. Put it out into the public now that we really have no other choice but to raise rates, or show us how creative you can be and how we can avoid doing that.
Thank you, Councilmember Spadola. And I was just going to mention that this council has made some adjustments in terms of what was presented to council in terms of rates to be increased. And once we looked at the conditions of what was going on in the community and what was happening, we made those decisions. So I just wanted to share that we do that, and we should continue to do that to make sure that the administration is being held accountable and that we are doing our due diligence as well. Councilmember Owens.
Yes, a follow-up. And again, in theory, this is a good piece of legislation. And again, this is just the way I think I have to talk things out. So under the last administration, under those 8 years, water rates went up almost 50%, maybe almost closer to 60%, with small increases over those 8 years. We just voted, some of us voted in favor of increasing the water rates this year, water and sewer rates this year, while others asked for us to relook at things because of the growing costs. Now, back then, we didn't have the full property tax assessments. We were mainly basing some of that argument off of the renters, which has a majority here in the city. So I think when we look at legislation, when we look at the water and sewer rates, we have to also include the entire city, which means renter and homeowners, and the impact that it's having on them, because our renters also pay their taxes as well too, and pay their water bill as well too. So again, that's all I wanted to bring up with this. Again, I would hope something like this wouldn't lead to an increase in something like property taxes to make up for a difference in not raising the water and sewer rates. But I do believe that we need to be more strategic and fiscally conservative with how we're doing things. And that's what I brought up back when we voted on the budget, and that's what I'm going to keep bringing up every time this comes up. So thank you.
Thank you. And I also want to mention that one of the things that I always keep in front of us is benchmarking as it relates to what we pay for water versus some of the other municipalities. And I think other than one other municipality, we were the lowest. So I do believe this is a great discussion, holding the administration accountable and city council, making sure we have the right, correct information, that we set up meetings to talk about what we need to look at before we actually get into the budget season. So I think it's an opportunity, since this is on the agenda, for us to set up some meetings and to start some of these conversations. Councilmember Willard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I wanted to thank Councilmember Spadola for bringing this up. And I think that if I was going to summarize what the spirit of this legislation is that there needs to be touch points outside of budget season for council to be paying attention to what's going on with the water sewer fund and making sure that all steps are being taken. And I know that the council is the board of the water sewer fund. And so, we do have a really important role to play in like all of the, just in making sure that the water sewer fund is operating correctly and that it's solvent and that we're maintaining this really strong water infrastructure for our city. And I do, as a new council member, I do think that, there's not as much, I just sometimes feel that we can't wait until budget season to be paying attention to these issues, which is why I've been going to the UCAB meetings, which have been really super important. But sometimes I wish some of the material that was coming to the UCAB board also came to council. So I definitely think that the spirit of this resolution, which is let's have council have access to more information sooner and be more part of the conversations about the water utility, is a great idea. So, and just specifically, I just wanted to ask a question as a follow-up, which is, what is the best way for council to get information about the water utility? Because I have asked a couple of times about some of the outstanding bond obligations and like what they are paying for, and then also for actuals versus projections for the kind of study periods. But I haven't yet received that information. So I just wanted to ask again, what's the best way for council to make sure that we get information so we can make, informed decisions?
Madam Chair, would you?
Yes, Ms. Bergler.
Certainly. For the actuals versus budgeted, absolutely would be WEFAC. We do have a meeting on Thursday morning. It does cover the water sewer fund, and it should give a good overview of kind of the status of the water sewer fund as right now and where we are versus our financial projections for the year. As far as I apologize, I am aware of your other question, of the request that you sent, and it has been on our list to respond to. I apologize that we have not gotten back to you yet. I think the best way to respond to that is I think you wanted the descriptions of the actual projects. Those are all listed in the budget, in each budget year. So we can put together a little bit of a report that just ties back each of those projects to the description in the budget. The other thing that we have is our quarterly capital review meeting, which I would encourage you to attend as well, which kind of gives the status of each project. But I do understand the council's request for more touch points. And what I will say is we take the responsibility of, one, keeping rates low, and two, funding the water fund appropriately to ensure that it is both fiscally solvent and self-sustaining very seriously. I think that Councilman Spadola mentioned it seems preordained. I think a better way to think of it is it is based on a 6-year plan, continually looking forward, because it is a fund made up of literal pipes. Many of those pipes are significantly aged. And on top of that, we have some very significant capital improvements we need to make due to PFAS regulations and lead and copper removal regulations. We need to plan ahead. We have to constantly be thinking about how we're going to spend money, not just this year, but how we're going to spend money over the next 6 years to ensure that we are properly funding those improvements. And I know that Black and Veatch gives their presentation every budget year. I know that it can be a little bit hard to follow, but it is definitely our attempt, at least, to try and make sure that we're being transparent about where these rate increases come from and why they're necessary. But it doesn't just have to be that meeting. And absolutely, I welcome any further discussion or any touch points or any other conversations that we can have to ensure that we're making sure that we're getting across the due diligence that we are doing. Councilman, I can stop there for a moment.
Councilmember Owens.
I just wanted to ask a quick question about what you talk about in those meetings. So, is any council members invited to join those meetings?
WEFAC is a public meeting. Anybody can attend. They are publicly noticed meetings. So not only can you attend and are welcome to attend, but any member of the public can as well. So we absolutely encourage you to do so.
And is the chair of the finance committee a part of that?
Yes.
Yes.
So we do have someone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Councilwoman Harley is a voting member of WEFAC.
Yes.
We definitely welcome more transparency. Anything we can do to help communicate how the rates are developed and help make this body feel comfortable on how the rates are developed, I absolutely encourage. I think Councilman Owens, you mentioned that you were concerned that maybe using general fund money could put pressure on the general fund. That is our concern as well. I know that we do have a healthy fund balance at the moment. We do use that one to offset rate increases. It's called the tax stabilization reserve portion of the general fund balance for a reason. It is there to help us in times where we might not necessarily want to raise rates, property tax rates on our residents. And the other thing is we use it to help fund council priorities and administration priorities. A lot of those are aligned. So last year, in conjunction with council, we funded both an alleyway pilot program, a tree program, a home repair program, all of which came from the tax stabilization reserve portion of the general fund. It's also where we fund the economic strategic fund, especially the small and minority business development program. So the more, and some of the initiatives that you might fund from the water fund are significant. And if you do that year after year, not saying that this legislation is saying that we should, but if you do, you go from having a healthy fund balance to a very small fund balance pretty quickly. And that's not a situation we want to be in, especially when we're concerned about making sure that our residents aren't paying more than they need to in property taxes. So that's a concern of ours, but of course, absolutely happy to do our due diligence, happy to ensure that we are not spending more than we need to on the expense side. Happy to ensure that we're communicating exactly how our revenue projections are and our cost projections are developed. And just want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable about the process.
I think one of the main concerns is that the community, the council members, we want to always see, what justifies any kind of rate increases. I think at the end of the day, I know that's always my concern. And so the more information that is shared in terms of justification of whatever the rates are, whatever is being considered, I think that's the most important thing. Why and what for? Councilmember Willard.
Yes, I just wanted to make a request to Councilman Spadola. And again, I want to thank you for your initiative on this legislation. I noticed in the Be It Further Resolved, the last section, it talks about requests that administration provide a written report to the Finance Committee detailing. And you have 3 bullets here. I just wanted to ask if you might consider adding a 4th bullet, something like a review of indirect costs and their justification. Only because the Water Sewer Fund does send, I think, over $9 million from the Water Sewer Fund to the general fund through indirect costs to pay for general, city services. So I just think that it would be a great bullet to add to this, just so we can all better understand the role of indirect costs in the city budget.
Ms. Mergler?
Yes, so we did cover the indirect costs issue quite a bit last year, as we did an indirect cost study to show exactly what, to just recalculate exactly how many services go to support the water fund, and to ensure that it was calculated correctly. So we tried to be as transparent as we could with council last year by going over that report. But happy to continue to discuss it. Just as a reminder, the indirect costs are services provided specifically to the Water Sewer Fund by general fund services. So audit, law, that sort of thing, things that a Water Sewer Fund would need to hire themselves if it were an independent utility.
Thank you. Councilmember Oliver?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Marshall, can you see my hand? Is there something going on with WINTN?
Yes, we see your hand, Chair. It's okay.
It's been
Yes.
up from the beginning. Okay, no, that's okay. Thank you. It's been up from the beginning, but I was wondering why no one called me.
Councilmember Oliver, do you have something to say? Okay. Does any other council member have any questions at this time?
Yes, I've been having my hand up.
Councilmember Darby. Councilmember Darby.
Yes. I definitely want to be added as a co-sponsor for this piece of resolution legislation. I think the intent behind it, I think, hits on a lot of what I've been saying for the last 4 or 5 years. And I heard Councilmember Spadola's like he Googled some information, and I literally over the last 4 years have talked to so many different water sewer funds across the country in different cities, city councils, departments, administrations. I connected with companies that come into cities and look at their water sewer fund to do an assessment on it and to have this very exact conversation about justification, to have the conversation about affordability, to have that balanced conversation in regards to how do we sustain our system to make sure, of course, no one wants to be a Flint, Michigan, but how do we sustain, sustain our system of water, but at the same time be able to justify and have fair rates. One thing I do want to point out outside of advocating for assessment on our water sewers fund for the last 4 years, going on 5 now, is that we have to look at UCAB. So UCAB was created, I think, a long time ago by Councilmember Bud Friel. And when he created UCAB, the Utilities Citizens Advisory Board, it is supposed to do the exact same thing this resolution is talking about, providing reports throughout the year, like periodic reports about the water sewer fund. They're supposed to make sure that the rates that are then presented to city council are justifiable. That it was created as like um a middle person before it got the city council to make sure the justification made sense. And what I really think needs to happen is we really need to look at our UCAB, our Utility Citizens Advisory Board, who is on it, what their purpose is, how they operate, because what is happening now is they were barely meeting, and then they barely have people on the board. And honestly, all they do is whatever Black and Beach tells them is what they give us, right? There's no real true conversation happening on the public meetings that they have. And I know that for a fact because I have people who have went to the meetings and who have talked about what is talked about, what is discussed in those meetings. So I think it's really a point in time as we're talking about water, which I have been talking about for 4 years in regards to protecting people, because it's not just now that people are suffering with water. People have been suffering and struggling with water for so long, and we have looked the other way. People are struggling out here, and this is a conversation that we have pushed forward. So I think it's really important. I'm going to support this resolution. It's cute, but I really think it's time that we take real measures as city council to do a whole assessment with an outside vendor on our water sewer fund so that we can have these real conversations throughout the year and look at UCAB, which was created by Councilmember Bud Friel, to do exactly what this resolution is saying. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members that would like to speak at this time?
Madam Chair.
Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you. Yeah, and I don't think anybody was suggesting this, but of course, my intent is not to use. There would be zero purpose to this if we were raising property taxes just to fund the sewer water fund. That would defeat the purpose. I think anything we can do this year to avoid increases for whether you're a homeowner or a tenant who's going to get those costs passed on to you, this is the time to do it. And if I could just, especially with artificial intelligence, I know that we've had that 6-year roadmap with the rates that Ms. Mergler was talking about. But the technology is changing so quickly. I feel like there has to be a way we can harness that to change some of those preordained rates. And I'm just going to rattle off some municipalities real quick. Riverside County, they saved about $100,000 using artificial intelligence to control wastewater aeration. Houston, Texas, implemented AI-driven leak detection and predictive maintenance. The result was millions of gallons saved in non-revenue water, faster response to hidden leaks. South Bend, Indiana, deployed smart sewers with machine learning to predict and prevent overflow events. Scottsdale, Arizona, uses AI forecasting to optimize water pumping schedules and demand planning. New York City employs machine learning to predict which water mains are most likely to fail. So I think there's a lot we can do with technology that maybe we couldn't have even done last year or 2 years ago, that I hope the administration is really looking into as well. Appreciate everyone's feedback.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone wish to speak from the public? Please come to the podium and introduce yourself.
Good evening. My name is Pam Salam, and I'm from the Southbridge community, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to ask or to at least voice my concern. All of this is fine as far as the funding that's available for the residents. It's a great idea. I understand the transparency that is needed to be able to make accurate decision as far as increases. I get all of that. However, as a resident, I'd like to just mention that, okay, I see my water bill. I know there's been increases, but there's no, and I don't know of any, and I am open, and I'm sure there are others residents that feel the same as well. There's not an educational piece as to how the rates or the usage can come down so that the amount won't be what it is. Because what I did is I have my numbers and I have my previous bills, and I'm looking and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I need to watch my water usage. Okay, so I decreased that. But then for 3 months, it's still the same thing. So there has to be some wiggle room where this rate that I'm being charged every month doesn't stay the same. So I would like to speak as far as the public educating on how to decrease with the increase of services.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm open and I am available.
We will definitely look into doing a presentation.
Yes.
Ms. Salam.
Yes, I appreciate that. Maybe
Of
come out
course.
to our civic meetings. I don't know. Whatever it calls for, I want to, hopefully y'all hear what I'm saying and then make that happen.
As usual, anytime you reach out to me, I always respond. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Ms. Mergler, did you have something that you wanted to say? Okay. All right. So thank you for your comment, Ms. Salam. And thank you, Ms. Mergler, for your information. And this was a great discussion as relates to how we can consider moving forward. And I want to encourage all the council members to set up meetings as it relates to some of the concerns that you may have. I encourage you to set up more meetings and get as much information as you possibly can get. So at this time, we're going to move on to our last agenda item, which is a discussion on sustaining a legacy by Heart for the City Incorporation, presented by Arnold and Sharee Dorsett. Are you on the line?
Yes, we are.
All right. Well, welcome, and the floor is yours.
First, thank you guys for allowing us to present. I'm Pastor Arnold Dorsett, and I'm here with my wife, Pastor Sharee Dorsett, with the pastors of iRise City Church. And we're here to talk about our dining hall program. First, I want to give you a quick history of it. That this program has been up and running to feed those that are less fortunate for maybe almost 50 years straight. My heart burns for the continuation of this program because many years ago, my family, we lived right behind in the apartments right behind. And we lost that apartment and we migrated to Southbridge. And from then, as a child, we were homeless. We were actually filmed on WHYY as a homeless family. And being homeless, we've had to migrate and walk daily over to this dining hall as a child for many, many years. And so as of today, though, in full redemption, I go from needing this place to eat as a child. Now I own the building and we want to continue what this building has provided for our families. We want to continue in this building what has been here for many, many years.
Yeah, so first of all, we want to say thank you for having us. One of our goals, I want to say thank you, Councilwoman Michelle, for having us. We're really excited to just introduce ourselves, get out in the community, share and make awareness on what we're doing and continuing at, we call it Asbury Building, which is located on 3rd and Walnut. As my husband stated, the history of feeding the homeless and those in need. It started with Ministry of Caring, and we want to honor that. The awesomeness of their program is that it was sustained for 50 years. And, the top of this year, I want to say May of 2025, Ministry of Caring, due to financial constraints and the rising cost of sustaining the building and the program at this location, decided to move the program to Jackson Street until they can figure out an alternative. Our goal, though, was to still sustain feeding people because the need is still there, and specifically in that area at the time that they've been doing it for 50 years. And so with their transition, one of the things that we're happy about that we've been still able to sustain feeding hundreds of families on a weekly basis. And in that transition, we've even morphed into becoming a resource place where we're connecting individuals, not just to housing resources in the city, but also some wraparound services that include addiction and partnering with a lot of already existing organizations to those in need. And so we have found that it's bigger than just feeding people. It's now we're finding that there's mental health needs, that there is, wraparound services. Let's just talk about skills development, feeding and reaching out to these people. We find that the need is really great. And so in the transition, in all transparency, even though we're excited to say and report to this group that we've continued that work of feeding people, we do have some threats. And some of those threats include just the transition of a building that's probably what was built in the 1700s, with Ministry and Caring being in that location for 50 years. The building and the portion of the building that they were feeding the homeless was grandfathered in. And so in their transition out and us taking over the dining hall portion of the program, our organization is met with a lot of different requirements that we are having to work through to make sure that we can sustain our compliance requirements, and then just the increased cost of also equipment. And so what we want to do again is just kind of reiterate is to share with this committee that we want to invite you guys at some point. You will see an email from us inviting you into the building if you have not been there, into the dining hall, just to see what was built there and what we're building out for the East Side part of the community, but also so you can see that there's still work, there's still a great work that needs to be done in that area. And just to communicate also some of the threats that we are experiencing, again, it's just not like it's the compliance requirements, but it's also equipment. When we took over the dining portion of the program, we realized that some of our equipment was 30 years old. There's an oven in there that literally is 30 years old. And thank God that it is working, but it is due for upgrades in our new transition with the health board. And so what we're here today is to also communicate a need. So the need that we have, we're not just communicating to City Council, but we're reaching out to our partners, our sponsors, the community, City Council members, such as yourself, city, state, and grant members as well. And so the need that we have, it is a financial need to upgrade those equipments, but also remain and get some portions of our program in compliance, because now that our building has transferred from a grandfathered organization, we do have to make sure that we remain compliant even with feeding the homeless. And so I just kind of want to just reiterate, I know we're flying through some things. I do want to also say, we wanted to share that along with our dining hall kitchen, in our transition to Delaware, because we were pastoring in Philadelphia for 11 years, is that we also opened up a women's transitional home on the 22nd block of Market Street, and that program is also very successful. Along with that, we've opened up a resource center within our Third and Walnut building where we assist homeless individuals and connect them to resources. So in conclusion, again, our goal was to introduce ourselves, say hello to all the council members and individuals, let you know that an invite is coming for you to come tour our building, but to also just present the need that we do have a need of $8,500 to complete some of the compliance work that is required from the health board, fire inspections, and then also to upgrade our equipment. In total, like I said, $8,500 is our need, but any donation that this committee can consider will be grateful. We will be grateful for, and we definitely appreciate.
Thank you.
So with that, we do close our presentation and would like to open it up for any questions that you guys may have of us.
Well, thank you for that great presentation. And before I share any comments, I'm going to open it up to my council colleagues to see if any of them have any questions. Okay, so I just want to mention that I met the Dorsetts. As you know, they're in the 4th District. I'm always looking for organizations that are making the most impact as it relates to the community, be it feeding, be it clothing, be it turkeys, different programs to assist the unhoused in terms of moving their lives forward. And as it relates to upward mobility, I will say that the iRise Inc. organization is one of the top tiers in the 4th District in terms of making impact. When I learned that the Ministry of Caring decided that they would no longer be operating in that location, they never at that point even reached out to say, hey, Councilmember Harley, is there anything that you can donate to our organization to help? They just went out on their own and got partners. And right now they actually are working with other organizations that are donating weekly, and they are meeting the need that the Ministry of Caring had met for over the last 50 years. So I wanted to commend them for the work that they're doing, for the impact, which I think is very important, because there are a lot of nonprofits out there, but we have to always look at impact, or at least I look at impact. And so I just wanted to say that this is an organization that is doing a lot, not only in my district, but also in the 3rd District. When I learned that they actually had built or renovated a house for unhoused women, or transitional home to support women that needed support. They needed advocacy as it related to some with addiction, some with gambling, some with all kinds of different issues. I went there to the ribbon cutting, and the house is absolutely phenomenal and amazing in terms of how they are making sure that they are touching the hurting and those that need help. So I just wanted to again commend them, because when I look at impact, they're one of the top tier organizations I know in the 4th District that are really moving the needle with helping those that need help the most. And that's all I have to say. Are there any council members that have any questions at this time? Is there anyone from the public?
Madam Chair.
Yes, President Congo.
Yes, I have my hand raised. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just wanted to thank and congratulate the both of them for everything that they're doing for our community. I am looking forward to being able to help them. It's a really proud moment to see, just what they're doing, where they've come, and just understanding the importance of giving back. And I just really want to be able to help them as much as we can. I just want to make sure that they leave their contact information for people who may be watching virtually, so that they can be reached out to also.
Okay, thank you, President Congo. As it relates to your contact information, I know we have Ms. Bassnight that can get the information to council members, but you may want to just share it for anyone that's listening, how they can contact you.
Oh, absolutely. So we have an email address, which is iRise, and I can put it in the chat as well. So it's irisecity@gmail.com. So it's irisecity@gmail.com.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right. Um, Vice Chair Bracy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to thank you guys for coming and presenting. And I know Pastor Dwayne put us on a text thread together, and we've been texting back and forth. And I'm looking forward to getting out there to meet you guys and to take a tour and see all of the awesome work that you guys are doing. I really appreciate you guys coming in and sharing this with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to it as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilmember Bracy. Any other council members? Anyone from the public that wish to speak? Okay, all right. Well, if none, again, thank you for the presentation, and thank you for just, walking us from the beginning when you took over this program to today. I see a number of organizations that are coming out and showing up on every day. Your feed those that want to come and get something. I don't know. I don't think it's just the unhoused. I think it's just a number of individuals that come. Now, when do you actually serve?
So the building is open weekly, but we have scheduled servings every Sunday and then throughout the week as well. And so obviously the holidays, but it's throughout the week.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much for the presentation. And we look forward to continuing to be great partners together, working for the community.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, everyone, this wraps up our agenda for the evening. And so at this time, I would like to accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Well, okay, I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.